Hi YouTube, this is Christian Brindle, and as we are days away from the first of 2020 and entering the new decade, I wanted to take a minute and bring you my opinion on the top 5 Medigap plans going into 2020. So without further ado, if you don't know who I am, I'm a licensed insurance agent and broker, and I own a company called Christian Brindle Insurance Services where we work with people on Medicare in various different places in 7 different states. And we've helped a tremendous amount of people over the years with their Medicare health plans. We actually work with all of the different insurance companies available, all the largest insurance companies, however, in the industry. Without further ado, let's get into the top 5 Medigap plans going into 2020 because, believe it or not, this stuff can change. So, this is a graph of the current Medicare supplement plans that will be available in 2020. Now keep in mind, due to the macro bill that passed in 2015 and is taking effect starting January 1st of 2020, plans F and C will no longer be available to purchase for anybody that becomes eligible for Medicare starting in 2020. So basically, to put this in layman's terms, if you become eligible for Medicare on or after January 1st of 2020, you can't buy Plan F or C. You're not eligible for it. But if you were eligible for Medicare before 2020, meaning let's say you turn 65 in 2019 or 2018, you will still have the option of purchasing Plan F or C if you want to. So these are all of the different Medicare supplement plans that are available. The way that Medicare supplements, or Medigaps, another name for it, work is they are designed by the government and named after letters, and they all have a different portion of what they pay that Medicare does not pay. On the left-hand side in this chart, you'll see it's broken down into Medicare Part A and Medicare Part B charges, and it kind of determines which plans will cover how much of different things. So let's get into which plan, in my opinion, is number 5, and that would be Plan M. Let's go back to the chart here. Plan M, as you can see, is right here. Plan M basically covers a lot of the things that the other plans will cover. You know, they'll cover the hospital copay per day, the Medicare Part B coinsurance and copay of 20% that Medicare leaves behind. Medicare doesn't cover the first 3 pints when it comes to blood. Medigap Plan M does. Covers hospice care, skilled nursing, but it only covers 50% of this Medicare Part A deductible. We'll come back to that a little bit later. Does not pay anything towards the Medicare Part B deductible, nor does it pay anything towards Medicare Part B excess charges, which is basically like if there's any extra charges left over and the provider wants to tack it on top of your costs. Foreign travel is out of the country, and it pays basically 80% up to $50,000 lifetime, and there's no plan that covers any more than that. So why is Plan M number 5 on this list? Well, let's talk about the good that this plan has to offer, and there is some good. It has better coverage than plans A, B, K, and L, and also high deductible G and other plans like that. The coverage is just better. The only thing it leaves behind is it leaves you 50% of the Medicare Part A hospital deductible, and it leaves you behind with a Medicare Part B deductible, which in 2020 will be $198 one time per year, and it doesn't cover Medicare Part B excess charges. It still leaves more behind than I would like the Medigap to do, but it covers more than plans A, B, K, and L, and high deductible G will. Also, there will be more companies offering a Plan M in 2020 in a lot of markets. The reason for this is because since they can't offer a Plan F anymore, well, it's not that they can't offer the Plan F anymore, but since the Plan F won't be as viable as it has been in the past because less people will be buying it because it's not available to people that are aging into Medicare, they have to have other plans to be attractive as an alternative. Plan M may be one of those plans going into 2020. Let's talk about the bad of Plan M and why it is only number 5 on the list. It only covers 50% of the Medicare Part A deductible, which in 2020 will be $1,408. So it's paying half of that, you're paying the other half. Even though more companies will carry it, it still has only a few companies that have it. Now, in the past, there's been practically hardly any companies that will cover it. Even though there's more companies that will carry it in 2020, it's still few and far between in comparison to the Plan Gs, Ns, and Fs of the world. So it's a it's an all right plan, but it's number 5 for a reason. Number 4 is still Plan F. Now, there was a time where Plan F would be number 1 on this list, but not anymore. Plan F's day has come. Plan F, the writing on the wall for Plan F was on the wall back 6 years ago. It's still a top 5 plan if you still qualify for it. Like I said, if you become eligible for Medicare after January 1st of 2020, you will not be eligible to purchase a Plan F, even if you did want it. But for a lot of people, there's about 80 to 100 million people in this country on Medicare going into 2020 that were eligible before 2020, so it's still an option for a lot of people if they want it. So I threw it on this list for that reason. Now, Plan F, as you can see, is 100% coverage all the way down with the exception of out-of-the-country foreign travel. Covers everything that Medicare does not cover, whether it be Part A deductibles, Part B deductibles, Part A and B coinsurances, skilled nursing facility, hospice care, and I could go on and on and on. F typically stands for full coverage, a lot of people in the industry will say. So why is Plan F only number 4 on this list if it's the only one on this chart here that's full coverage? Well, simple. The good about it is obvious. It's full coverage. But the bad is also obvious. The bad with Plan F is since there's been so many people on it for so long, Plan F has been in the mix since 1992. There's a lot of people on this plan, and there's been people that have been getting onto this plan due to a program known as Guaranteed Issue for 20 plus years, and that has caused the prices to inflate. That problem is only going to get worse in 2020 because they're going to be taking on less new people because people that are turning 65 will not be able to get it. That means the people that will be on the plans will continue to get older without new young people coming in. This will cause the rate increases to just go up and up and up. It's not looking good rate increase-wise for the future of Plan F. So high rate increases, newly eligible people cannot purchase it, and the starting out prices are just going to be really inflated in most markets. Let's move on to plan number 3, which will be Plan D, a plan that doesn't get talked about a whole lot, but in my opinion, I think it's a solid number 3 on this list. Plan D can be found right here. It's a plan that's also been around for some time, but it's starting to pick up some more steam. It basically covers everything that Medicare does not, with the exception of the Medicare Part B deductible, which, like we said in 2020, is $198 one time a year, and it also does not cover Medicare Part B excess charges. So, solid plan, good coverage, leaves a little bit to pay, but not much in comparison to a lot of these other plans, like a K or an L, which leave a tremendous amount for you to pay, as well as plans A, B, things like that. So, it's good coverage in comparison. The good about this plan is obvious. There's very few things to pay. Like I just mentioned, Medicare Part B deductible of $198, and the Medicare Part B excess charges, which depending on where you live, that might not even be an issue. In some states, it's illegal for providers to charge excess charges. It's a rarity if it ever happens at all. So really the only thing you're going to have to pay as long as an excess charge is not charged is the Medicare Part B deductible. There's also few people on this plan, which will cause it to have lower rate increases going forward into the future. So why is this plan not higher on the list? Well, the prices in most areas will tend to be higher than plans G and N, which Plan G is better coverage than a Plan D. Plan N is not better coverage than a Plan D, but Plan Ds typically will have much higher starting out prices, which kind of offset the difference in coverage there. That's the only reason. It's just because the starting out price for a Plan D is going to be a lot higher than G and N going into 2020. That's why. It's just not as good of a value for what they're asking you to pay for it. So let's keep going into number 2, which is Plan N. We all knew Plan G and N were going to be 1 and 2, but what particular order was I going to put them in? I have my reasoning behind why Plan N is not number 1, and we'll get into that right now. But first, let's talk about what the coverage looks like with Plan N. Well, Plan N does not cover the Medicare Part B deductible. Now, here, the Medicare Part B coinsurance and copayment, basically what a Plan N is it will charge up to a $20 doctor copay. It could be less, but $20 is the max every time you see a doctor for an office visit, and a $50 copay for an emergency room visit, and it also does not cover Medicare Part B excess charges. So there's basically 4 things you have to pay to keep track of with a Plan N. You have the Medicare Part B deductible of $198 one time a year. You have an up to $20 doctor copay every time you go in for a doctor visit. and a $50 emergency room copay, and then you have the Medicare Part B excess charges. What is there to like about Plan N? Well, there's a lot. The rate increases should be pretty low and stable going into the next decade. And the prices in most markets are going to be lower than most of the other plans on this list, starting out prices. So why is Plan N not number one? Simply put, the copays can add up fast with an up to $20 doctor copay each time and a $50 ER copay. If you go to the doctor with any type of regularity, those copays can add up quickly if you go twice a month. And let's say if they're charging you $20 each time, that's $40 a month. If you go to the emergency room once or twice a year, that's $100 a year. The copays can add up quickly, which kind of offsets the positives of this plan for me. And even though I like this plan, even though it's a great option, and depending on where your market, it could be the best option depending on where you live because the prices are different from state to state. Overall, I have to give it a solid number 2, but it's close to number 1. Number 1, of course, is the ever-popular Medicare Supplement Plan G. Now, Medicare Supplement Plan G is probably the simplest plan on this list with the exception of Plan F. You have basically one thing to pay, and that's it, and that's this Medicare Part B deductible, which is $198 one time a year, which obviously is subject to change, but every plan on this list, whether it be a Plan F, whether it be a Plan N, whether it be a Plan M, whether it be a Plan D or the G, all requires you to pay this Medicare Part B deductible. The only plan that doesn't make you do this is a Plan F. So you pay that with all of these plans except for Plan F. But that is all you pay with the Plan G. There's a lot of simplicity there. Let's talk about what I like about it going forward. Very little out of pocket, like I said, with the only thing you pay as the Medicare Part B deductible that Medicare does not pay. If Medicare pays, this plan will pick up everything that Medicare does not pick up except for that deductible. The starting out price is going to be low in most markets. And number 3, it's very simple. There's very few things for you to remember on what you need to keep track of with this plan. You don't have to remember that you have to pay a copay each time going in like an N. There's just a lot of simplicity to it. People liked Plan F for so many years because Plan F was simple. And I think there's some value in simplicity. What is the bad things about Plan G? Because there are some. The rates may start to have higher rate increases, but it won't happen overnight. It'll be probably any time within the next 5 to 10 years. And the reason for this is because Plan G is going to participate in some situations for a guaranteed issue. Basically, what guaranteed issue is that this is what caused Plan F to start to deteriorate over the course of decades. But what guaranteed issue is if someone is on Medicare already and they're canceled on a group insurance, or let's say they're on a Medicare Advantage plan and it pulls out of a market, they're able to jump on that plan without any type of health questions of any kind, no underwriting, and they can just go right through. When normally the only time you can get a Medicare supplement plan without health questions other than that is if you're turning 65. Now, not all Medicare supplements participate in guaranteed issue. Plan G didn't up until 2020, but it's not every situation. It's only certain situations, which I think is a good reason why I think a lot of people that say the rate increases are going to go spiraling out of control, I think they're just not 100% accurate on this. I think they will cause the rates to go up more than they have in the past, but it's not going to be ridiculous like it was with Plan F for that reason. Our states that we can do any of these plans you saw on this list in would be Colorado, South Carolina, Idaho, Oregon, Texas, Florida, and Utah. Those are the 7 states that me and my company, Christian Brindle Insurance Services, are licensed to do business with, and we work with all of the top insurance companies in each of those markets. That's me, Christian Brindle, Medicare expert. Call today, folks, 801-255-5340, 801-255-5340. Let us shop your Medicare supplement plans for you of any kind with any insurance company. We can tell you if your price can be beaten. We can tell you what the best option would be based on where you live. We hope to hear from you soon. Thanks so much for watching this video, and if you enjoyed it, please do us a favor, drop it a like, subscribe for future content, and we'll catch you next time. Have a great 2020.